How's it going, everybody? This is Novakast back with another video for you guys. And with this one, we'll be doing another movie review and kind of continuing where we have been going for when it comes down to reviewing all of the Alien films. Let's go ahead and go on to the next one, which I'm going to say to some degree has quite a few people, or at least, I guess, if anything, kind of split down the middle of whether or not it was good. In this video, we'll be reviewing Alien 3, which was released in 1992, directed by David Fincher, written by Dan O'Bannon, Ronald Shusett, and Vincent Ward. And as I said before, going and continuing this, when it comes down to audiences, it's sort of split whether or not this was a good movie or a bad movie. All I can say, for at least my personal opinion, is it's confused. And to an extent, especially when it comes down to the history and production of the writing, as well as the script and so on, it went through production hell, considering that there are a variety of different stories that they wanted to go with, and instead of just picking one, they decided to pick two of the possible stories that they had workshopped. But to a degree, did not, in all sense, work out the best way. If anything, it's confused. But enough about that. We'll get into that in a second. But for now, let's get right into it and start off with story. So, to an extent, to kind of talk about the story briefly, or kind of going over the cliff notes, Ripley, as well as the survivors, Hicks, Newt, and the android Bishop, are floating in space in their ship when an alien that was attached to the ship itself wakes up, or the facehugger in some sense. Its acid blood destroys part of the hardware or software of the ship. Part of it, or at least the escape pod, is jettisoned to a planet, a prison planet, I should say. And while everybody else is dead, Ripley is the sole survivor. Well, besides Bishop, but then again, he's an android. Going further, she lands on this planet that is filled, again, that is a prison planet. Not sure how you can create an entire prison or planet into a prison, but okay. But not only that, but it's also a holy religious prison where they're celibate and so on. So to an extent, it's odd. Again, the direction is really, really, really odd. But anyway, Ripley is the sole survivor, and after she wakes up and investigates the pod, realizing that an alien could have been on board of the ship, she tries to make sure that Newt or Hicks wasn't infected, and when verifying that, the bodies are cremated. But people slowly start to die when an alien comes out of an animal. And I say that, I'm trying to be vague to some degree, because to be perfectly honest, if you watch the special edition or the regular edition, there are two different animals that birth the alien that is presented in Alien 3. That being in the regular version, where it is a dog, whereas in the special edition, it's a cow that births the alien. But anyways, people start slowly dying, and they try to kill it, but at the same time, Ripley realizes that she was infected with a facehugger. But not only that, but infected with a queen embryo. And to top it off, Weyland wants her alive. So the race is basically on to try to kill the alien, as well as possibly killing Ripley, who at this point has no hope in surviving the birth of an alien queen. And that's basically the story of Alien 3. And again, just to cliff note it, I don't want to go into too much too much detail, because I'd ask you guys to go check it out for yourselves. I'm not gonna lie, watching it, I kind of felt confused, mostly because of the prison aspect of it, and there were certain things that didn't make any sense at all, considering, again, with it being a prison, there's mentions that apparently the prisoners are on a quote-unquote honor system, which, not to sound like a dick, but how is it that if you're in prison, how are you in an honor system? I don't know. But apparently also with this particular prison, there are no weapons available on the planet. I'm sorry, the whole prison planet thing just really bugs me. And to a degree, something that a lot of people are mad about was the fact that this was a downgrade to Aliens, whereas Aliens, we had armies of aliens that were presented for the second film. With this one, we only get one, and a facehugger and a chest burster. Actually, not even the chest burster if you watch the special edition, which, for quick note too, because there is a quick edit when at this near the very end, which I'm just gonna go ahead and spoil it, Ripley dies. There's a point where the chest burster comes out and she holds it as she dies, so it can die. However, for the special edition, you don't get that scene, which is really odd, and it's a really weird one to cut. But they cut it anyway, so there's not much I could say about that. I guess bottom line, especially when discussing final thoughts on story, it's confused and nonsensical, especially more focusing on the setting of where we're at and involving the characters that we are having to deal with. And also, to a very, very large degree, it's, especially with, Ripley, the character Ripley, it's like a non-win situation. Completely non-win situation. So, to a degree, again, confused, disappointing, and just makes me wonder why. So, for characters, unfortunately, there's really not much I can say. There's a lot of them, but to a degree, especially when it comes down to the quote-unquote prisoners, a lot of them are, let's be honest, very, very one-note. Lance Hendrickson shows up as playing as Bishop, though I guess, if anything, more so the creator of Bishop. There, and to a degree, especially when it comes to the prisoners, you do have Charles S. Doughton playing as Dylan, I guess the leader of a lot of the religious camp. Charles Dance playing a medical officer named Clemens, as well as random, like very random, like good actors, like Pete Postlethwaite. Hopefully I said that name correctly, but playing as David, or character named David. But above that, like almost every other actor there, just kind of one note. I mean, all of them just play as the prisoner character that has no personality besides, oh, look, I'm a prisoner, I'm in jail, this and that. Just very one note, not very entertaining, and kind of like the Marines, unfortunately, I felt were, let's face it, unfortunately, just meals for the alien. And now I need to get to Sigourney Weaver, who, to a degree, is lesser in this one. And I think it's, I want to defend it a little bit, and I think it's mostly because of what this character has to go through towards beginning and end of this film. That being the fact that, one, this character just lost a few, more people that she cared about. Two, she's in a prison full of murderers, sexual deviants, and so on. And to top it off, she has a chest burster inside her body that is basically, the equivalent of Queen Alien. So to a degree, and her health is deteriorating as time progresses. So to a degree, I can understand. Especially in the moments where it starts getting more and more physical, especially towards the final climax of the film. But there were times where I kind of wish she would have done more, but she doesn't. Especially in this situation. So with Sigourney Weaver, I kind of felt her to be underutilized. Now, there was a rumor, or at least some information. I hate to use rumor, but there was some information that I heard that apparently Sigourney Weaver wanted, if to reprise her role, she wanted the character to die. Which, to an extent, I can kind of see that. Especially with this character being the face of the Alien franchise for so long. So, all in all, interesting, to say the least. Though disappointing with how this character kind of goes out. So, effects, I'm not gonna lie, are a mixed bag for me. Granted, I love the continued use of practical, but for this film they decided to use more of CGI, and I guess the idea was to, at least for the developers, was to make the alien look more animalistic, especially when it comes to its movements. But you look at the CGI used, and it looks terrible. It really does. And I guess they tried using blue key screening. Hopefully I used that term correctly. But it did not, I guess if anything, go well when it comes down to what they were trying to pull off. So to a degree, it was not the best. Which is kind of why, again, I say that practical effects are a lot better, especially with earlier films for CGI. But to add to that, there is a moment in this film where Sigourney Weaver's character Ripley talks to what's left of Bishop from Alien 2, or Aliens. And I'm not gonna lie, looking at the animatronic, and it is an animatronic, I originally thought, like in first viewing, that it looked like Lance, or at least Lance doing the dialogue. Like he was right there, but nope, it was actually animatronic that looked very, very like him, or much like him to a degree. And it's scary how much it looks almost real. But going further, I guess if anything, overall when it comes down to effects though, practical effect, I'm always welcome to see. The CGI in this particular film just unfortunately absolutely sucks, and I have to take away points. I'll be honest, there's literally not much I can say about music. Music has, especially when it comes down to the use of music for these films so far, have been, spot on. I will admit that there is one moment in this film that unfortunately was really odd, where we get this random rock music. And to be fair, it's used, or strangely used, in a very, very uncomfortable scene depicting not very good friendly content. But I'm gonna stop there. But either way, it's a random song that is just played out of the blue, especially for a very chilling scene. And unfortunately, I just didn't feel like it fit in with everything that was going on. If anything, if instead of trying to pick some random rock music, using a score or something like that probably would have been better. But they decided not to do that. So either way, not the best choice. So, Alien 3. This is going to be a tough one because honestly, when it comes down to it, the other two films are actually really good. But unfortunately, I gotta, my personal opinion when it comes down to it, this is the bottom line. The story itself seems confused. The setting is weird and nonsensical. And in no reasonable situation would you have, again, prisoners in a prison, part of the honor system, and have no weapons at the facility. Actually, if anything, no other staff, for that matter. The situation with the prisoners, or at least the characters' prisoners, are one note. A lot of them I was just waiting to die because, with so many bodies and body count, and it being an alien film, it was expected for all of them to die. Ripley kind of feels underutilized when it comes down to the effects. Unfortunately, CGI used, especially towards, the use of the movement for the alien, sucks. But the rest of it is okay, especially with the practical effects. Music, to a degree, besides one random rock music or rock song that unfortunately could have been removed for something else, is honestly, again, score good, random rock music bad. But bottom line, there's a lot of things that I've said with this. So without further delay, it pains me to say this, but this is not the best, or if anything, kind of leaves us a little bit empty and confused. So with this, at least for my review of Alien 3 from 1992, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. It's unfortunate because of the other two films, but because of so many issues with this particular movie, that's the point where I'm at with how I feel about the film. It's not as bad as a lot of people say, but there are issues to it that make it nonsensical. So once again, 5 out of 10 for Alien 3 from 1992. And with that, that was my review of Alien 3. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys can, please leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. If you guys want to follow us on social media, links are in the description down below, as well as check out our daily content and the weekly podcast. With that being said, this is Rob Novakast signing off. Have a good one, take care, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.